am not kidding when I say that that is really highly pigmented. Good grief, Khaki, get it together. What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today is a very requested video. It is about a brand called Rituel de Fille. I have been corrected because it's French, and I swear Duolingo told me it was pronounced fille, but apparently I misheard it. It's fille. French is hard. I spent a lot of money on Rituel de Fille, and we're gonna be testing it all, and it is not a first impression, and I'm gonna do the best that I can. So I have two of the Inner Glow cream pigments. One of them you may recall from my cream blush giant roundup video last year. It didn't do well in shipping coming from Credo, and they refunded me for it, but I kept it around because, you know, that product is still probably good, right? And so I have it in the shades Frenzy and Delirium. I also have the Ethereal Veil Conceal and Cover. They actually do make complexion makeup. This is, I think, the extent of it, and this is in the shade NYX in IX, and I'm putting that on in a second. And then I have Solaris Rare Light Luminizer. Wow, it's a highlighter. I have the Abyss Black Orb. It's actually, you know, looks like a little marble. And then, you know, you open it up, and this is supposed to be like an amazing high pigment saturation kind of black eyeliner. It's ultra matte, and you can use it as like an eyeshadow base too. And then I got a couple of the outrageously overpriced eye soots. So I have the shade Aura and the shade Golden Age here. And we're going to be putting all of this on my face. We're going to talk about ingredients, packaging, the brand itself, all of that, and I'm going to give you guys my final thoughts at the end. But without further jabbering on, let's go ahead and get started, guys. Okay, I already have my foundation on my face, and if you can see all of the little peely skin flakes all over my face, please be nice to her. I was not nice to her. I tried too many new products all at once, including, this was probably my big egregious error, but I left my retinol that needs to be refrigerated in my mom's refrigerator over Christmas, and I just did a Hail Mary and asked her to mail it to me, and overnighting it would have been like 40 bucks, and so she sent it to me regular UPS, and it took like 8 days, and it smells different now, and I used it twice, and this happened. I think I was thrown away. It was a really big mistake. Any of you, like, you know, chemistry buffs out there, you can go ahead and inform me in the comments why this happened, but yeah, my moisture barrier is like DOA right now. She has left the building, so just pardon my peelies, but right now I do have on the Milk Hydro Grip Primer as well as the Milk Flex Foundation Stick in the shade Creme, and we're just going to bear with it. So I did that because I'm going to go for kind of a powder cream hybrid look today. I tried to do all cream because this is an all cream. It falls under the category of shimmery, creamy textured things. You know, I talked about that in my fails of the year video at the end of last month. I talked about how so many products are really marketable because they're shiny and creamy, but that doesn't necessarily always translate into a really beautiful, functional, like high-performing makeup product. So we'll see with these. But I tried to do a full cream look with this, and it wasn't pretty. And when I say like it wasn't pretty, like it didn't look pretty on me, and I want to create something pretty today. And so I think that because these eyeshadows, these eye soots are a look, we kind of have to go for a little bit more look on the face. That was a lot. Let's go in with they're all in the same package. It's like kind of like Thrive, but they're all in the same package, and so it's like you have to check the back of every single one of them. Anyway, we're gonna start with NYX, the Ethereal Veil Conceal and Cover, and I think that that's a pretty darn good shade. The other reason I'm going for a cream powder hybrid is because this is not like Glossier, guys. This is not this like creamy, low pigment, mimic skin texture kind of concealer. It is definitely like a not playing around high coverage cream concealer that has a little bit of its own dry down and wants to be pretty matte. I just realized I want to color correct. Hang on. Ooh, those eyes could use all the moisture that they can get, girl. Putting it on a sponge here, and I'm just gonna dab that on I think that the concealer is one of the winners of the bunch. Just the few times that I've put it on, I really like the coverage. I really like this shade for me personally. I will get into the shade range later on. We will see, you know, how much they have on offer. It's a very interesting brand though. Like their stuff's really expensive. And from an ingredients standpoint, I found it to be a little bit more on the essential oils, like favoring side. The highlighter especially smells so strongly of lavender oil. And I wanted to review it anyway, just because that doesn't really bug some people. And I wanted to review it because you guys just keep asking about it. In my last video, you know, I did a bunch of Bare Minerals stuff, and I did that because you guys asked for it. And I was really, really like pleasantly surprised by those products. So I definitely take my cues from you guys whenever I can. But look at that. I think that that's actually a really beautiful brightening, pretty, I mean, not full coverage, but like not cakey either. Nice, seamless concealer for any day. I think that that's really, really, really beautiful. Y'all, I have so much dry shampoo in my hair. It's a Friday. I'm just holding on, you know what I mean? Like, is it Saturday yet? Is it sleep in o'clock yet? I think that the next step, in order to not make this the last video where all I did was tutorial you guys to death, I'm going to go ahead and powder. And per my last email, per my last big roundup video, I talked about how Ilia is a setting powder that is pretty like unnoticeable on the skin, and it doesn't really interfere too badly with cream products on top. And that's what I'm hoping that that observation holds up today, because we're going to be putting a little bit of cream product on top. I really wanted to present a face of makeup that I felt like was more applicable to everyday wear, that wouldn't necessarily involve you guys buying the entire line from Rituel de Fille. These products are expensive, and I know that, you know, you want to know which ones are good and which ones aren't, and I want to give you a way that it integrates into your makeup routine, not your makeup routine has to adapt to the makeup products. The texture on my skin is an absolute nightmare right now, guys, and it has nothing to do with the makeup. It has to do with the texture of my skin. But the show must go on. We're gonna be leaning hard on that Onami finishing spray today. Yes, we are. We're going to hope that she performs all kinds of miracles and absolves me of my sins. For my next trick, I'm going to go ahead and bronze up just a little bit. I wanna lay the powder, any powder that I'm going to put on, I wanna go ahead and do it now. This is really great. This is charming. We love this. We love it. Whatever hair. Those hairs never grow long enough to go into a ponytail. Yeah, I wanna lay down any bronzer or powder products that I'm going to use before I start going in with the cream products from the brand itself, so. Okay, we're going to go in with the cream blushes now, and I'm gonna probably layer both of these. I'm honestly, like, I was hoping this would be a little bit more rusty, but it seems to be a little bit just more red. I'm not sure. We'll see how it looks when it goes on. These are very, very highly pigmented. I'm gonna go ahead and actually swatch that for you. So you are getting your money's worth in terms of pigmentation on these. They are like crazy intense. I am not kidding when I say that that is really highly pigmented. Good grief, Khaki, get it together. Yeah, I kind of think I may have done too much there. Let's just do too much on the other cheek too and see what happens. What do you say? Yeah, I think that these are really popular for most people. I think that like their cream blushes and their cream highlights, pretty much anything though that has shimmer from this line, people get really excited about because it has sort of an unexpected duochrome to it most of the time. Like I had a hard time when I was shopping. I bought these all off of Credo, and I had a hard time when I was shopping, like trying to find what I thought would be like the most wearable shades of everything, because I was like, all of the cream highlights say they'll be like beige, shifts fire red. And I'm like, do I want that? I don't know if I want that. You know, they're like ethereal pink, shifts, you know, baby blue. And I'm like, I don't know if I want that shift on my face. I'm 32 years old. I am not an e-girl. I'm not raving. Like, when does that come into my life? Now, I will say, I did try this before on like an all cream face, and I did put it on with my fingers, and I really, really didn't like it. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. All of my talk about that color maybe not working on me, all of those fears have been absolved now. Like, that is actually really gorgeous. Really, really enjoy that. I'm actually gonna take a little bit of the deeper kind of violet tone here. And these last, I wanna say, yeah, these last 12 months. So even though they do have really, really clean ingredients, they don't expire too quickly. And so even though I bought this last year, I think that we're still good to go. And I'm just gonna use this, yeah, like that. You know, kind of increase a little bit of the contour right there. Okay. Big fan of those. They are not inexpensive, but you do get a ton of color payoff from them. And for that reason, I would say that those are really, really lovely. Okay, next we have the Rare Light Luminizer, and this is the highlight. And I just want to show this to you guys swatched because I tried to use this sort of like with my fingers, and it's really intense. Like it does shift kind of like an orangey fiery red. And I'm not sure that I like it, you know, at face value. Let's see how it goes like on a sponge here. If you can diffuse it, it's really, really beautiful, you know? But I think that the thing that people get the most excited about from this brand, again, is the really like ethereal effect that you can achieve with these products. And so I do feel sometimes like if I'm using only a little bit, I'm kind of defeating the purpose of the product. Like the product is supposed to be used like to achieve this like spacey look. I'm not really sure, but I don't hate that in the amount that I just put it on. I actually think that that's really, really beautiful. And there's a surprise in my voice because like I said, the first time that I used it, I had a lot of trouble with this. I just feel like on bare skin, it didn't really give me a flattering texture. Or not even a flattering texture, like a flattering effect. The color wasn't right. The shimmer that it gave my skin was just not improving anything, I guess you would say. All right, so we have blush, we have highlight, we have a little bit of like a bronzy effect from the other blush. We have the concealer. I think that these are all great. The big issue that I have had comes when I get to these, and I'm really scared that I'm about to like wreck this entire look. I was reading the instructions on these and they say use with like a really dense brush or with your fingers. And I'll say, from a fingers standpoint, I'm feeling a little bit attacked just because my nails are so long, they just won't go in there. I cannot put that on my finger. And I think that even if you had short nails, it would get all underneath your nails. God, doesn't that look like it's gonna be beautiful and perfect? But like, how do I get it on my eye? And the weird thing is, this one is very sooty, it's very powdery, whereas this one, I put on a different nail, the Aura shade is like extremely creamy, and good grief, you guys, look at this color. What? So we're gonna do the best we can to put the right amount of everything on my face here. I'm sticking this Sigma E55 brush in there because they said to use a dense brush. My fingers aren't gonna work, and even if I were to get it on my fingertip, the clumsiness of my own fingers is just not worth it. So I'm starting here with this. It reminds me a lot actually of like my favorite shade from Urban Decay, that Smog shade. And I think that I'm gonna like this more now that I have like a face of makeup on. Like I said, you know, in the beginning, that's why I kind of went this route, is because I just wanted to give this its best shot at success, you know. So I'm gonna lay this down and then I'm gonna see how much we can get blending wise out of it with a different brush. Gonna go in with a Thrive brush here and just try and blend those edges a little bit. Okay, I don't hate that at all. That's actually really pretty. I do feel like I'm kind of using it wrong though, from like a clean beauty standpoint. And maybe that's, I don't know, maybe that's just my own silly perception, but I feel like so much of the time when we're talking about clean beauty and it's like a creamy, like pot-based product, not CBD, but I mean like it's in a pot, that I'm supposed to put it on with my fingers, and if I don't, I'm doing it wrong kind of thing, you know? But I'm just gonna keep blending this until it looks, you know, like I meant to. Now, do I think that like one eyeshadow is worth this price? I think these are like almost $40. Like, I don't know. I I don't know. Let's see how the eye look goes. Yeah, pretty, but as I'm trying to get it in the places that I want it, I'm kind of getting it in a bunch of places that I don't want it. I just think that the delivery system is a little bit frustrating. Okay, I'm gonna take that, this might be a really bad idea, but I'm going to take that same big brush and I'm gonna dab it off on the back of my hand a little bit, but I'm gonna grab some more of that and I'm gonna go under my lash line here. All right, I mean, we're moody. It's coming off cooler toned on my skin than I was expecting it to. You know, maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, I thought that this was gonna be more of a bronzy brown and it's pulling like a very cool taupe on me. Probably just blending with everything that's underneath it. Okay, we really need to rescue this from where it's at right now because it just seems like it's going to just keep spreading across my face the more I work it. However, I don't think that this is the ticket. I'm gonna use it to highlight at the end and stuff, but it is not the ticket to get all this stuff to blend, mainly because the textures of these two products are so different. This is an eyeshadow and this is a cream. And I don't know why. Did I do it wrong? Like, Celestial Sphere eye soot and this is an Ash and Ember eye soot. Maybe they have different textures. Maybe that's by design. You know, like I just found that out the hard way, I guess. So the first thing that I'm gonna do actually is go in with a Brilliant Eye Brightener from Thrive. And I'm gonna use that as just my other color here. Because I think that the two sort of mimic one another in texture. I think that they will kind of agree on the skin. Plus, this is one of the least complainy products I've ever used. Like, it's just one of those products that goes with everything. It's like, oh, powder, got it. Cream, got it. No problem. I did, the first time that I used this, have to clean every single brush that I used afterwards. Not that you shouldn't do that, but like, it gummed up all of my brushes, especially the Aura shade. It was crazy. Like, I'm gonna have to probably use that either on like a little stubby brush or like on my fingers because it'll just gum your brushes up in a really nasty way. And I'm sorry if I'm bringing, I feel like, a little bit of like predisposed negativity to this review. I can't tell you how frustrating this was. And I honestly kind of like lost a little bit of sleep just trying to decide how I was going to make a video about this because the first time that I tried these products, I had such a difficult time with them. And so I wanted to make sure it was a useful video for you guys. And I was honestly preparing myself for this to be a fail too. And it hasn't been a fail so far. So I'm going to try and adjust my attitude. All right, I'm gonna go into my Hourglass powder with an 03 brush. This is one of my favorite brushes right now from Wayne Goss. And I'm going to use that to blend and clean up just a little bit. This is one of the best flipping. Uh-oh. We got fallout in River City, guys. Oh, gross. That's kind of the whole point of a cream shadow, I feel like. And maybe this isn't a cream. It's not technically a cream. But, you know, it's the eye soot. It did. It fell out. And now I've got it, like, down my face. All right, let's go ahead and go in with this one that is not admittedly my fave, but we're going to use this very, very sparingly. And this is the shade Aura, and I'm going to use this specifically to highlight my inner corners and the very tippity tip of my brow bone because it is crazy glowy, like crazy, crazy. Has this wild pink shift to it, glowy. And I don't think that's a bad thing. It's just be aware. It's very hard in this whole line to find something that just looks like a beige champagne glimmer glow kind of thing. Like that is not what this line is here to give you. They're really not trying to give you like mainstream glow. They're trying to give you something that's a little bit otherworldly and a little bit unexpected. And it gets friggin' everywhere no matter what I do. And then I'm gonna use just a touch of that, a touch, and highlight my brow bone with it. It actually plays really nicely with the Brilliant Eye Brightener. Like the Brilliant Eye Brightener helps to tone the aura down a little bit. Okay, we're going to line my eyes here real quick. It might not be quick at all. I'm going to go in with this, what they call this? The Black Orb in the shade Abyss. And I'm going to give myself, hopefully, a very cute cat eye situation. It's really powdery. It's not actually like wet at all, which I think is really interesting. And I did try and use this as like an eyeshadow base, and it's fine, but it's actually not as like intensely pigmented as I was expecting it to be, which is actually okay. I just think that it does kind of like set your expectations as if it's going to be the blackest black thing you've ever used. And I did bring out a pot of the Sigma liquid eyeliner, which doesn't match this for ingredients at all. Like I haven't checked into it, but I'm just gonna assume. I just wanted to kind of test the two next to each other and see, because that's like one of the most pigmented ones that I've ever used. It's like super impressive. However, I do really like this texture. This is really, really easy to work with. Okay, I feel like I'm kind of getting it everywhere, but I don't hate that. I actually think that's really pretty. Okay, BRB, y'all. I'm going to do my brows and put on some mascara real quick and a lip, I guess. And just kind of do a little touchity-uppity a little bit. I'll be right back. Okay, all things considered, guys, I think we made something pretty on my face today. And I did want to open up that Sigma Longwear. This is the Sigma Longwear gel eyeliner in the shade Wicked. And it just happens to be, I think, one of the best, most highly pigmented gel eyeliners out there. Okay, so you can clearly see, like, this is one swipe of the Sigma, and this is me really building up that black orb or whatever it is. And it's just not that impressive. This is also a much less expensive product. From an ingredient standpoint, they're not that far off. Sigma does use phenoxyethanol as their preservative, whereas I'm pretty sure that this one uses rosemary leaf extract. Yeah. So, you know, those are the differences if you're really concerned about kind of splitting hairs about ingredients. But like if you're looking for a really saturated black eyeliner, you can do better than this for less money. So all of the blushes and the highlight that comes in these little compacts are all $29, but the concealer is $34. And then the black orb is also $29. You get kind of a lot of product, it feels like. I'm not sure. 0.24 ounces. I don't know how much of this is actually full of product, but it's really heavy. They might just have the container weighted. I'm not sure. And then the eye soots, you guys, these little guys, I don't know what I just did with the other one, but these are $38 a piece. $38. Like, yes, you get 0.2 ounces of eyeshadow, but like you gotta really be committed to one color of eyeshadow. That's all I'm saying. So about the brand, it says Rituel de Fille was founded by three sisters who were inspired by the magical side of natural ingredients and the ritualistic ceremonial power of pigment. That's why I say, I feel like when I'm not laying highlighter on my face with this and not like truly showing off all of the shine capabilities of every single product, that like, I feel like I'm doing it wrong. I feel like I'm kind of dishonoring the brand a little bit. As accomplished artists, all three bring a unique vision to our colors and imagery. Every Rituel de Fille color is obsessively formulated in-house by the Ramos sisters to meet our exacting standards. We approach our formulation like potion making. We carefully select each pigment, oil, and wax for a clear purpose, and we develop each color from the ground up to contain the fewest possible ingredients. That's pretty cool. We use nothing extraneous and avoid fillers. This attention to detail creates intense color with opulent textures. All Rituel de Fille products are entirely natural and handcrafted without parabens, phthalates, synthetic dyes, or synthetic fragrances. We never test on animals and only source our raw materials from companies that are also 100% cruelty-free. So like ethically, and from the standpoint of really buying from people who are like real people, this isn't some conglomerates just like stuffing their pockets, you know, this really hits all the marks, and I could totally understand why you would want to like spend your money on these products, even knowing that they are a little bit pricier. As for like sustainability and recyclability and everything, these are all in plastic, and they do have mirrors inside of them. And they don't really have anything on their website talking about any kind of recycling practices or anything like that, just to let you guys know. And all of the packaging that it comes in when it's shipped is all just regular cardboard. In fact, I wanted to show you guys this. This is what the orb comes in. It's a little pyramid. I thought that was cute. So yeah, you can tell that these are really imaginative creators, and they're definitely like going for an aesthetic. And I do think that for a certain audience, this is really gonna hit all the marks. There is lavender oil in a few of these products. You can smell it most distinctly in the highlighter. Other than that, it's just jojoba seed oil, which is like a carrier oil. It also does have lanolin in it, which is not a vegan ingredient, but it does not require the slaughter of an animal or anything like that. It's drawn from the actual wool of a sheep. And we have candelilla wax, rosemary leaf extract, like I said, as their preservative, and then, titanium dioxide, which is nano. So there are nanoparticles in this. Like I said, everything is synthetic fragrance free, synthetic dye free, paraben free, phthalate free, mineral oil free, palm oil free, talc free, and PEG free, and Leaping Bunny certified cruelty free. So let's talk final thoughts here on Rituel de Fille. I do feel like I got a pretty good smattering of their offering. I spent $213 on all of these products. And there are some big wins, and then I do feel like there are some misses. So I think that the big wins here are the blush. I think that this blush is absolutely gorgeous. I think that it's a very wearable shade. It has a really, really nice texture to it. It plays well on top of powder, even though the powder did kind of soak it up a little bit, I feel like, and then I just kind of reapplied it after that. This is a beautiful, beautiful color. Again, this is the shade Delirium, and I think that they went, I don't know, I shouldn't say a safe route, but like a practical route with these shades in the blushes in particular. I'd be interested to try some of these shimmerier ones. But yeah, I did. I liked both of them. I love the pigmentation level. They're so, so intensely, richly pigmented, and they're really, really easy to work with on a sponge. So as far as the illuminator, the only thing I don't love is that it just really, really smells like lavender oil, and sometimes lavender oil is an okay product for people. It's supposed to have anti-inflammatory properties or something like that. I just find it to be drying on my skin. It's just not something that I like putting on my skin all the time, but I literally put like so little of this on my skin because it's a highlighter. I don't think that that's like a bad thing necessarily. However, I do feel like this is a very strange colorway for something that just looks beige in the pan. And I promise you guys, we had quite a few shades of this to choose from, and this was the most like normal. And I know the word normal is kind of, I don't know, it's loaded for people, but I'm just saying like something creamy and champagne-y that I could compare to other things that are in my collection, and still it shifts kind of like fiery pinky red, and that's just a little odd for me. But I think that I will continue using it. As far as the black orb, I am much less impressed with this than I expected to be. It just doesn't have really the pigmentation quality that I would have hoped for. I think even though, yes, I feel like I got a pretty nice line out of it, I would have wanted it to just be a little bit richer. I personally really prefer the Victoria Beckham black eyeliner. I think that it's absolutely gorgeous. It's highly pigmented. It's super, super creamy, and the ingredients are great. So, pick your fighter. It's completely up to you. But when it comes to a really creamy eyeliner, I found this to just be a little bit like too low pigment for even the black line that I want on my eyes. The concealer, I actually really love. It does not smell like any kind of fragrant essential oil or anything like that. I love the coverage level of it. I love how easy it is to work with. You don't have to put too much on your skin. It's not super greasy. I love that it's not super greasy. And I was able to kind of touch up underneath my eyes after the fact, like off camera, and it worked well over powder, like in small amounts to sort of clean things up. And I think that this is actually a really, really nice kind of highlighty match for my skin, which I really appreciate. A lot of lines don't have one for me. There are 12 shades in the concealer hybrid makeup situation, so it does actually get pretty darn deep. It has some good medium shades too, but this being the shade that matches me, I feel like it worked really, really nicely, and I will continue to use this. I think it's a very, very pretty concealer as far as like cream pot concealers go. It behaves very much just like a regular prestige product. It doesn't have any of that weird, clean beauty, like compromised mental gymnastics associated with it. So all of that said, more or less happy with my purchases. I'm going to continue using pretty much everything that I just mentioned, probably with the exception of the black orb. It just didn't really do much for me. Maybe I'll try it as like an eyeshadow base. I'm not sure. However, let's talk about these eye soots, because I just was really hoping that I was going to like feel the effects of a $38 eyeshadow, and I'm just not. Mainly because, guys, we're already creasing like crazy. And you know, yes, there is that other one, the Aura shade, and it's going to be creamier. It's a lot more emollient. It has a lot more of like a spreadable, oily, greasy texture to it than this one, which I think I will get more use out of this one than that Aura shade. I would definitely skip that one. Not just because it's going to like act like an eye gloss almost. You know what I mean? It just kind of goops everything up and makes it like really creasy. Like I've literally been sitting here for 20 minutes and it's already creasing. But also I think it's not a very wearable shade. It's just kind of like pink sparkles. It just doesn't really do it for me. This is really, really beautiful. I really like the shade. It reminds me a lot, like I said, of Urban Decay Smog, which is like one of my favorite, most like versatile shades. However, it did still kind of fall out everywhere, and I still have it like around on my nose and kind of speckled in a bunch of places. All told, packaging, application, like difficulty of application, difficulty of getting it out of this little thing, that in combination with the price, I just can't in good conscience recommend you spending your money on this. It just doesn't make logical sense. Put the eyeshadows in a palette, put them in individual pans, something that's less wasteful than this, and don't ask someone to pay almost $40 for one shade of eyeshadow. Like, you better be really, really sure that this is the eye look you want to wear for the next year, you know? Because that's the amount of time that you have before this expires, and I don't know, guys. I can barely pan one eyeshadow. I don't know your life. Maybe that's what you want. Maybe you want the simplicity of literally the same eye look every single day, and if that's the case, you can figure out how to make this work. I will say, guys, I used this with the understanding that came from a lot of practice, mainly having to do with a fully dewy, non-powdered face of makeup, and I would not recommend them at all for that. Putting that eye soot on and trying to make that work without a powdered face of makeup, it's just, it looks bad. I don't know, that's just my personal opinion. I found it to be really frustrating, especially because I do love my skin. I do love my face. I do love wearing things that have very little coverage and just, you know, editorially kind of like building things up in little places and saying like, oh, I want a whisper of highlight here and I want a whisper of blush here. This is not a whisper of anything. All of this is like really high impact, and I find that to be an odd disagreement of like aesthetic versus the actual products themselves. It's like, oh, we want you to have something that's really easy and really like makes you feel kind of magical, but at the same time, like, you better put on a whole mess of makeup to like make this look at home because it's so pigmented. Does that make sense? This is a really unusual brand, really unusual, and that's again why I'm kind of like having trouble making sense of it. It's like the fallout is just kind of slowly spreading over time. But yeah, I would say that the blushes are beautiful. The highlighter is pretty if you can find a shade that you really, really like. The black orb is okay. The concealer is kind of amazing. And the eye soots are like a complete miss for me. So I hope that was helpful, guys. If it was, give it a thumbs up. If this was my first video of yours that you watched and you enjoyed it, maybe consider subscribing while you're here and ring the notification bell so that you know when I upload. We have a fun time hanging out in the live chats. When I do release the videos, I tend to typically premiere them if they're under like an hour. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching and for hanging out with me today. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.